Brian Harman attempts to defend his title against Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, and the rest of the Live Tour guys. Well, welcome to Tea Time. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com. Being joined as always by my fellow golf betting expert, Nick Borman from WagerTalk.com. And welcome to the last major of the year. And Nick, got to start off with winter trends. I know it's sad, last major, but I gotta be honest. I'm loving this tournament. I'm loving the lines. I think it's super bettable. So let's start with some of the trends of the last 10 Open Championship winners. We did a little bit of a deep dive. What are some things we need to keep in mind this week?
Yeah, now keep in mind, Andy, these are the winning trends. So these apply to each of the last 10 Open Championship winners, okay? So it doesn't mean if you don't qualify in these categories, you're not going to have a good week, but these are the ones that actually won the tournament. So each of the last 10 Open Championship winners, Andy, had finished at least in the top two. So they might not have won a previous major, but they at least finished runner-up in a previous major. They finished. This one's important because it shows their current form. They finished in the top 15 in at least 3 of their previous 5 starts. So that means somebody that's playing very consistently, right? So 3 top 15 finishes in their last 5 starts is a very important metric for the last 10 winners. Also, we had a finish of at least top 3 or better in any PGA Tour event already that same season. So maybe a previous winner already, or at least somebody that was very, very close. This was a little funny one, had a prior top 20 finish at the Open, which is true for everybody that had played in one. There's one little caveat there. It was Collin Morikawa. He won his debut. But aside from that, everybody had at least one top 20 finish in the Open over the last 10. And then they've all been ranked pretty highly. They all fall on the inside of the official World Golf Rankings top 40. So even Brian Harman last year, who was 125, maybe even 150 to 1, he was still in the top 40 official World Golf Rankings. So you're not seeing guys way down the actual top of the world rankings that are going to win this thing. Additionally, Andy, a couple more that are important to note. 15 of the last 18 champions, so this goes back a little further, had at least a previous top 10 finish at the Open, actually top 9. So again, you've played in this event before, you've played link style golf, you know what is involved. And 8 of the last 12 have been at least 32 years of age or older. Usually, again, link style golf takes experience, takes patience. That comes with age, that comes with time. So those are some winning trends to pay attention to. Nothing really surprising. You have to have a little bit of past experience in this type of tournament, or this tournament itself. And you have to have some good current form coming in, which is usually the case when you get to a lot of these majors. So those are the winning trends to pay attention to this week if you're going to be betting the outright markets. Doesn't mean somebody can't have a good week if they don't qualify.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look at the course. And Troon, it's just an iconic course for the Open Championship. It's very interesting how it starts easy and then it just gets tougher as the round goes on. So it's like you got to get your birdies early and then kind of hang on for the pars down the stretch. Course is right on the sea, so the wind is kind of the main defense on this course. Actually, I'm going to save the weather here because I kind of have some hot takes here on the weather here. But the course is, the course is beautiful fairways. Not a lot of bends overall. There are some nice, really blind tee shots that are cool, but I think most of the fairways are fairly straight. You're going to have the undulations and the bumps and the mounds on the fairways. You're going to have the thick rough and the fescue if you really get wayward shots. So accuracy off the tee is going to be a little bit more important than that, the huge distance. Greens have a lot of mounds, bumps, and roll-off. But, there's sprinkles of rain throughout the week. So I don't think the greens are going to be, super fast. You're not going to be seeing U.S. Open, type fast. So I think good approach shots are going to be rewarded this week. And it's kind of broken down into 3 different sects of the course. You got the first 6 holes, which are pretty easy. And then it gets a little bit tougher, and then it gets even tougher down the stretch. You've got the longest hole in Open Championship history and the shortest hole in Open Championship history, all in the same course. So I think that this is going to be kind of a second shot type of course, the way that the weather has shaped out. I mean, you got to be accurate off the tee, but I don't think it's going to be too hard to be accurate off the tee. Nick, this is a par 71. We're looking, call it 7,300 yards. but 630 of those yards are one hole. So, everyone's probably going to be, it's going to take 3 shots to get it to the green, unless the wind, helps players. So, we'll go through some of my favorite holes here, and then we got to talk about the weather. So, the first is obviously the longest one. That's a 6 hole. It's 625 yards, par 5, longest hole in Open Championship history, but it's still scoreable. Fairway is straight. You can see it here. There's just not a lot of curves. So if these guys let it rip off the tee, they're going to be 300 plus yards in the fairway. It's going to be tough to try to get to the green into, but you could at least get close, maybe set yourself up for 20 to 40 yard chip. Guys like Brian Harmon probably going to lay up and maybe give themselves that 90 to 100 yard approach so they can really control the spin. Now, if you're wayward off the tee, if you catch those bunkers, you catch any rough, it's going to be an obvious layup, but I don't think the green is too tough. So I think it's going to be easy to hit, and I think we're going to see a lot more birdies on this hole than some might have thought. The 8th hole is the shortest hole in Open Championship history. Right now, it measures 125 yards as a par 3. With the wind, Nick, they're saying there could be days where it's less than 100 yards. And I love holes like this. The postage stamp is what it's called. I think this is going to be it's going to mess with players' minds because it is all about distance. And there's going to be some really, really bad tee shots where they completely overestimate or underestimate the wind. And don't be surprised to see some birdies and bogeys. This green is not too difficult, but if you sky the green or you put it in any of the bunkers, you're bringing bogey into play. You get the distance dialed in. It's not that difficult of a birdie putt. So this will be a really, really fun one. On the surface, you go, 100 yard hole. That can't be that difficult. No, I think you're going to see bogeys on this one. And then I have to go to the 18th hole. I love the final holes in the majors. There's a 465-yard par 4. It's a basic hole, but it's just the 3 fairway bunkers and the bunker on the right. You hit it in those bunkers, you're bringing bogey or worse into play. Those bunkers are brutal, but if you hit in the fairway, the hole becomes a pretty basic, 300-yard drive, 160, 170-yard approach shot. So you hit the fairway, the approach is going to be pretty easy. But if we got a crowded leaderboard or you get a couple guys that are neck and neck coming into 18, if either one of them hits those bunkers, that may determine who wins. So kind of a treacherous fairway bunker location there. And you can see up where the left and right bunkers next to each other. It's a thin margin there in the fairway. So those are my 3 favorite holes. And we'll talk about the weather here, Nick, because I got to be honest, this weather, they picked like one of the nicest weekends to have this tournament here. I will read you what the weather is supposed to be on Thursday. This is what they're saying. Light rain and a moderate breeze. And when they say light rain, 50 to 55% chance of rain. And I go back to the quote from Justin Thomas after the PGA Championship. I'll read you exactly what he said. It just doesn't matter what golf course you put us on planet Earth. If the greens are soft, we're going to tear it up. I think they go low. I think they go low this week, Nick. I don't think that the wind is going to be there to be much of a defense. I think the rain is actually going to help them with the greens. What's your take? I wouldn't be surprised to see a really, really low score and guys get out and put some low numbers out on the board. With these soft greens and no wind, accurate shots off the fairway, man, those approach shots are going to be dialed in with their irons. What's your take?
So I guess, as far as weather goes and allowing for scoring conditions to be there, I would agree with that. The winds are supposed to be 10 and 20 miles an hour for the 4 days. So it's not like it's non-existent, but it's not, something completely crazy, which, we all like to see at times in this type of championship. But here's the thing where I think the scores may not get to as low of a level as maybe we saw like at the PGA Championship where we were at, what did Xander win at, 21 under or 22, whatever it was. The Open Championship, the difference about that compared to, the PGA Championship, for example, is there are one-stroke penalties all over this golf course. You put it in a pot bunker, you go sideways, you're making a bogey. You put it in long, deep grass, you're going sideways, you're making a bogey. There's a uniqueness to link-style golf that is just, it's an automatic one-shot penalty. Not really a penalty, but you get what I mean as far as having to go sideways, having to just punch it back out. That doesn't exist in typical American golf, most of these bunkers you see these guys get in, they'll figure out a way to get out, and they'll figure out a way to hit a full iron out of these. These type of bunkers, you can't. We see it all the time where, depending on where that thing falls in or rolls in, remember, a lot of these bunkers, you could be 10, 15 yards left or right of it, but they're designed to kind of funnel it into that bunker. Now, again, you're against the side wall and you're not going anywhere near the direction. So that alone tells me it's, over 4 days, it's going to be hard for anybody to avoid everything over the 4 days. Of course, we remember Tiger Woods famously hitting irons. It wasn't at this course, but hitting, everything. Only one driver that 1 year. Of course, that was a dry year, so everything was running out a little bit differently. But you avoided all the bunkers. It's very rare you see that happen. So that's why I think over 4 days, I don't think we'll get quite to the level of the PGA Championship. Now, will we get to where we saw last week at the Scottish, where you had guys dancing, at 15, 16, 17 under? Yes. But what did you notice on Sunday, Andy? As the pressure built and some of the shots started to become a little bit more crunch time, the scores stopped. I mean, the leaders did not go low on that Sunday. It was just kind of hang on, make a couple birdies where you can, but just hang on. And so there's a little bit of that I think we're going to see this week, but I think there's just enough wind. And again, the penalties that hang around these link style type of courses will catch people over the course of 4 days. And if you're just guaranteed to make a bogey here and there because of that, I think that will ultimately keep the scores a little, higher than it otherwise could be with just the weather. But ultimately, I think we're in the 15 to 17 area. I don't think we're going to get to 20 as far as the winter goes, but I've been wrong a million times before, so I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong again.
Yeah, I just, when Justin Thomas said that after the PGA Championship, it really just struck a chord with me. I was like, yeah, if they get the ball to stop on the greens. Yeah,
I shot 6 under on Thursday, and then shot 2 over on Friday. Good job, JT.
I love bitter Nick. Just to piggyback off this, my take is that I think they go low. I've been on a really nice roll with golf bets, 5-0 over the last 2 weeks, and I've hit the individual round scores. I haven't lost one of those in a while. Rory McIlroy, yes, you can get him to shoot under 70.5 at minus 130 with no wind or with wind that's less than 20 miles an hour. Yes, you can get Xander at 70.5. Minus 120.
71? You're saying he has to shoot 1 under?
Was 1 under.
Well, you do that right now. So this happened a few weeks ago where round 1, I forget what tournament it was just like that. And then each of the next 2 days, those numbers dropped by a full shot on round 2 and round 3. So that I love that because you're just telling everybody that's listening, go hit round 1 scores. You're never going to have an opportunity where they're that high.
That's what I've done the last 2 weeks. That's what I've done the last couple of weeks. You play round 1. And then the books adjust, but I'm stunned at some of these. They have guys at 72.5 over under. That's over par. They have these guys shooting over par. And I'm going on receptive greens with not a lot of winds. Are you
pretty awesome?
I'm loving it. So, so that's our take on Troon. We're going to get to some DraftKings darlings, players to trip you up. We're going to talk about an outright winner. We're going to talk about a top 20. But we need to talk about total strokes gained. So let's take a look at the chart that we look at every week. This was talking about top 10 in total strokes gained. We're looking at 12 months, 6 months, and 3 months. And we also need to talk about how it relates to links golf. So Nick, walk us through the chart. A lot of the same names that we see up here. What's your take on what we see here?
Yeah, obviously no surprise. Top was Scottie, Xander, Rory leading the way. You got the mix of LIV guys back in here. Bryce, of course, the U.S. Open champion, and then Rahm and Neiman with decent runs. So, well, Rahm's kind of fallen off, but Neiman's had a strong run on the LIV circuit for a while. So they followed in here at just as much. But you're right, Andy. I mean, this is just the kind of culmination of the previous 12 months, which means wherever they're playing, whatever type of tournament it is, this is the data. It doesn't necessarily correlate to link style golf and playing on there. No, not necessarily. Scottie Scheffler is a good example. This is a different Scottie Scheffler this year than we've ever seen before. So maybe not the best example I'll give, but he doesn't have, the strongest links finishes compared to other guys in this field that are consistently up there. Even Fleetwood, you could argue, might have more consistent finishes as far as being in the top 10 or top 20 than Scottie does. I say that with a grain of salt. This is different Scottie, and he most likely will be up there again come Sunday. However, it does, I guess go with an asterisk here as far as looking at the chart, looking at the total data. As I always like to do, I include the three months and the 6 months, so the slightly shorter periods of time as well to make sure the trends are continuing, because you definitely don't want to get a guy that's been great over 12 months, but is trending the wrong way, like you could see with Victor Hovland. He's had a little bit of a bounce back in the shorter period of time. And then my notables are usually guys that are just outside the top 10, but are trending in the right direction. And you can see over the last 3 months, those numbers in the bottom 3 guys are the highest they've been in any of their data sets. And they're approaching near those top 6 guys. But you can see the top 6 guys over the last 3 months, how much separated they are than the rest of the pack. Scottie at over 3, and then 5 other guys there over 2. It just shows the consistency, and there's no surprise there of those guys and how good they've been every weekend and week out. Of course, if the odds board right, it's very much so what you're going to see as far as available prices for you. But not a ton of surprises here. I would not have. I think we would both agree Rahm would probably not be in our list of top 10 betting favorites this week, but he has a lot of data in here from still when he was on the PGA Tour, so he falls into this category. And I always want to remind everybody that this has proven to be a successful strategy as far as picking outright winners. 54% Tour winners since the start of 2022 have been ranked in the top 22. Bobby Mack was not in the top 10 last week, however, but he is going to be in regular events going forward, because now he's got 2 wins over the last 4-6 weeks, whatever it's been. So good for you, Bobby Mack. But no other real surprises here, Andy. I don't know if you see anything that jumps off the chart here for yourself, but I don't. But it is kind of reassuring to know. The one that I haven't been betting a lot, but has been very, very steady, and honestly is doing all the same stuff that Scottie and Xander and Rory are doing, but isn't winning, is the 4th one on this list, and that's Morikawa. He's been extremely steady over the last 9 starts, and you can see that with those numbers in the last 3 months. But he just hasn't got the win, so probably another good week.
The only takeaway I really, really have from that one is you got a couple guys on there like Bryson and Joaquin Niemann who just have bad track records at link style golf. Really good total strokes gained, but you look at Niemann's finishes and they're just terrible. I mean, just way below his average. Kind of the same with DeChambeau. For whatever reason, it just doesn't. I don't know why it doesn't translate. But those are the only takeaways. But yeah, I think with the weather being tame, I think the cream rises to the top, and bad weather could really add those elements of volatility. But when the weather's good, it just feels like the leaderboard on Sunday is going to be full of these guys.
Andy, it's you bring up a good point about DeChambeau. He has the highest apex of any player on either tour, right? Meaning it's ball higher than anybody else. Probably why links golf hasn't been his favorite, because high balls and wind don't work well together. Doesn't mean he can't change his game. And again, this seems to be a new man Bryson this year, so we'll see. I'm actually very excited to see how he plays this week, but that's probably the reason. And you're right on the money. I had a good late success over his years.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys could hit the like button, please. If you have not subscribed to the Wager Talk YouTube channel, go do that now. Get notified when we have all of our videos that are posted. You got live videos. You also got daily videos breaking down every sport. MLB had a great run in Copa and Euro tournaments. So make sure you subscribe. That way you get notified, as well as all of our Tee Time videos. And also, Nick, it's a huge week, and you have a 5% play that is up right now at wagertalk.com. I know you got a promo code, so go ahead and tell us about that.
Yes. Shishito, I got to give you the credit. We talked off record, off camera several times over the past several months about finding something in the golf for me you like, and maybe pairing it with a cross-board parlay or something else. And that's what I've done. I did it last week successfully with a Euro play and a leaderboard finish. I have another 5% cross-board parlay. So it's somebody I expect to play very well here at the Open, paired with an MLS selection, which has been my bread and butter over the last 5 years, and having another fantastic MLS season. So yes, that is part of this week's package. It is available now on my page at wagertalk.com. The regular price on that package is $39. You can use code OPEN20, save you $20, so you can get it for just $19, and that will include all 4 days. So that includes all round editions I'll do on round 1, 2, 3, or 4. I might not have them every single day, but I'll definitely have a few as the tournament goes on. And I too have been playing Andy's round scores very successfully. They just seem to, I don't know. It's something about the data and trying to figure out what that guy's going to do the next day. the easiest thing to do, Andy, sometimes is look at a guy that just shot 9 under and made a shit ton of putts. Sorry if I can't say that. You got to fade him the next day. He ain't going to roll that many putts. It's pretty simple sometimes. But I do have that 5% play going right now. And again, $19 using code OPEN20 gets you all 4 days this week.
Love it. Let's go to players that can trip you up. These are some big name guys that I think people are going to be betting on. Just here to warn you, I think that they can trip you up. So I'm not trying to pick, bad golfers and just telling you they're not going to do good. But I don't know. Maybe Jon Rahm qualifies as one now. Jon Rahm, how is he the 8th highest betting favorite to win the Open Championship still? I don't understand the betting markets. He's 64th in this field in total strokes gained in the majors this year, minus 0.65 putting in the 2 majors he's played in. Nick, he's barely making top 10s on the LIV Tour. He's just not the same guy mentally and physically. And I've been watching LIV. I've been watching LIV Tour, and I'm telling you, he's struggling with some of the basic shots. That was not that difficult of a course that they played on over the week. I know it was a little bit windy. He hit a couple balls in the water. He was missing short irons, leaving him on the complete opposite side of the green, the hole. I don't understand the price here. And he's being paired up in head-to-head matchups against guys that I think finish way better than him. And when you go up against these guys in pretty tame weather, like we've talked about, you're going to have to hit amazing shots to keep up. And he's just not even hitting all of the basic shots well. So I haven't seen it from him since he joined LIV. He's no longer a great elite golfer when it comes to the majors. So he's going to be a fade for me. I think I faded him every single major. It's nothing personal against Jon Rahm. I just lay it up. Hey, I see what I see here. Next one, we talked about him. I think Bryson DeChambeau makes this list because I think a lot of people are going to bet on him because of his resurgence, and it's been one of the most amazing career turnarounds that we've ever seen. But I think he comes up a little bit short. We talked about not having a great history at links golf courses. Here's his Open Championship finishes, Nick. Miscut, 51st, miscut, 33rd, 8th, and 60th. So only one really good finish. And, he's priced as like a top 6 guy. So you're asking him to do something that he's never done in his career. And length is one of his big advantages. But at this course, length really only kind of is a difference on a couple of holes. Accuracy is way more important. He's the 6th highest betting favorite, but only has one finish better than 33rd in 5 Open Championships. I think he's a little bit overpriced this week. And in a loaded field, I think there's just going to be some better golfers. So I can't play Bryson DeChambeau just because of his lack of good finishes at Open Championships. And I was struggling with this third one, but I think I'm going to go with Cameron Smith as my last golfer here that I think people are going to go with. He's got an amazing short game. I'm terrified of his driving. He's a very inaccurate driver. And like you said, wayward drives. If you get in those bunkers, if you get in the deep rough, there are going to be one-shot penalties. And I've just watched him have some pretty horrific drives in the majors. His short game is great, minus 5.7% in driving accuracy in the majors. That puts him in the bottom 14 of this field in driving accuracy. Bottom 14. That's a big U. And man, with this loaded field, just a few drives that put him in bad situations is going to cost him a few strokes. I'm a little bit worried. He's only finished 32nd and 63rd at the U.S. Open and PGA Championships this year, and he's priced as a top 20 guy. I just think his driving is going to cost him a few shots here, so I just can't quite get there with Cameron Smith here. And as I'm reading this, I'm just now realizing that all 3 of these players are LIV guys. That was not on purpose. I just realized that Rob DeChambeau and Cameron Smith are LIV guys. So those are the players that can trip you up. Let's move to an outright winner. Nick, you've already mentioned him before, but I'm with you. He checks all the boxes. Who do you like this week?
Yeah, after diving deep into the data and really going into the outrights, I still can't believe last year I cashed Brian Harman at over 100-1. It's hard to, he showed a lot of those promising trends, and the books throughout a long number on it. He had 3 straight really good finishes prior to that. I don't see that for really anybody outside of the top, tier this year. So it's hard to look past, those top 5 to maybe 8 guys. Not that somebody can't win it. The Open Championship has proven it is one event, one major that, randoms, let's call it, can win because it's just a different style of play. But Collin Morikawa, yes, I mentioned him for a good reason. I just love what he's doing coming into this with the form right now. He's got a mixed bag of results in this championship. I already mentioned he won his debut in 2021. Very rare. Definitely, it was the exception of those winter trends I had mentioned when we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, but he missed the cut in each of the last 2 editions. Obviously very alarming there. However, he just looks ready to bounce back into contention at this year's championship. He had that strong finish last week at the Scottish Open, tied for 4th. Obviously, that's going to give him a lot of confidence coming in and playing the same kind of, he was just striking the ball, all around the golf course very, very well. In fact, like his form just in general right now is getting back to what won him 2 majors and where he looked like the next guy, right? For a little while when he came out back in 2021. Then he kind of fell off for a little while, and mostly because of his putter. I'll get into that in a second. But since the Masters, Andy, he finished tied for 3rd. His run, honestly, has rivaled Scheffler, Rory, or Xander, like I said, minus the wins. He's got 9 straight top 16 finishes, excusing the Zurich Classic, which was that part of his event, but he still finished tied for 23rd there. But 9 straight top 16 finishes is rare air as far as PGA Tour company goes. The most promising thing from his current run, we always knew this guy was a ball striker. He was one of the elite. We've talked about that for years and years and years. There's no surprise there, but he's gained strokes putting in 8 of those 9 events, and that was always his weakest stat line. He's also didn't have the best short game, and he's also gained strokes around the green in 8 of those last 9 starts as well. So we know the guy's tee green game is going to be there, but if he is showing a little confidence in results, obviously with his putting and his chipping, that just catapults him right into I don't want to call it anything's guaranteed, but it just puts him right in the top 20 right off the bat, right? Because if he makes a mistake, which is rare, he makes less mistakes than others, and he can get up and down for it, it's not even fair. So his ball striking and accuracy, they're going to help him a ton this week. His lack of distance, that's the one thing, too, that can hold him back, usually doesn't hurt you here at an Open Championship. The ball is played lower, it runs out. It doesn't matter as much. Even if it is softer, it's not going to matter as much, in my opinion. And I expect, just another solid 4 days out of him, and I think he's going to get some real chance to win on Sunday. You can get him as a top 5 as well, which would have cashed last week at plus 350 if you kind of want to back up your outright winner play on him.
Love it. Collin Morikawa, I'll just casually throw out there that he's only minus 105 to shoot 70 or lower in this tournament. Jeez, I'll just casually lob that out there.
I'm going to have like 15 plays on this round 1 because you tell me this. This is bad news. Reel me in, Andy. Reel me in.
Well, listen, you got to strike while the iron is hot, but I feel like you and I might have a lot of the same round plays. For round 1. 5% play is up for me as well for the Scottish Open Pack. We're running a promo this week to get 7 days for $69. That way you get all sports. And even though it's kind of the dog days of the summer here, we've got a Formula 1 race this week that's right up my alley. We have darts plays that are up, and we are running hot in golf, 5-0 the last 2 weeks in golf. So use the promo code ANDY7. Just promo code ANDY7. It gets you 7 days for $69. We are 74 units in profit for 2024 across all sports. So there's no better time to jump on that. Not a lot of sports going on, but for us, this is where we make our bread and butter in the summer here with golf. With Formula 1, we've got WNBA going as well. So no need to buy the 5% play in the Scottish Open Pack. Just use the promo code ANDY7. Profit on the Scottish Open. That is WT.buzz/AL. Let's take a look at our DraftKings darlings. And Nick, you already know a couple of them, and the prices are just kind of astounding to me. We'll start with Adam Scott, who's 6,700. He's made 12 cuts in the last 13 Open Championships, which is an amazing run. It's right around. Honestly, if Robert McIntyre doesn't step on a sprinkler in the fescue, Adam Scott probably wins the Scottish Open. Finished second. He's only 6,700. Nick, making the cut in 12 out of 13 Open Championships You know how hard that is with the different courses and the different weather and all the different. He plays well here. He's top 30 in total strokes gained this year. I expect him to make the cut and get a solid weekend point. So 6,700. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll take that one. I hate myself for playing Sung J M at 6,900, Nick. I really do. Do you know that Sung J M has missed the cut in 5 out of the last 6 majors?
Yeah, I know.
He's been awful.
Yeah, he's awful.
The majors. All 3 of them, he's missed the cut. But here's the thing. He's been really good on the easier courses. When you get those courses that, you just hit the fairways and get the good approach shots, it just feels like the more difficult courses is where he struggles. I just think this week will be easier. He was 4th last week at the Scottish Open. I just can't pass him up at 6,900 because of his upside. It would not surprise me in the slightest if he finished top 10 or missed the cut. Anything's in play with this guy, but at 6,900, I'll take the upside on this one. And then Cameron Young, 7,500. He's played in 2 Open Championships, and he's finished 8th and 2nd in those tournaments. His last 2 events, he's played on PGA Tour. How's he done? Well, 9th and 6th. So maybe Cameron Young just really likes the link style, but I just can't ignore 8th and 2nd in your only 2 Open Championship finishes. So 7,500, man, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him show us 3 years in a row that he likes link style golf. So 7,500 for Cameron Young. So I'll be anchoring my lineups with Adam Scott, Sung J M, and Cameron Young. Free article, digital download is up at my page at wagertalk.com. Goes over the rest of the DraftKings lineups, goes over some total strokes gained at the majors, write-ups on the players that can trip you up, all that, along with that promo code Andy7, WT.buzz/AL. All right, Nick, let's take a look at a top 20 finishing position. Who do you like?
Steady. Corey Connors is the name you're not going to think of necessarily. What do you think of? Steady. Well, he is, but you just don't think of him because he's never really getting the TV time, on Saturday or Sunday. He's not really there with a chance to win. But what does he do, Andy? He cashes, make the cut tickets. He cashes top 30 finishes. He cashes top 20 finishes. He is just steady. He doesn't blow you away with anything part of his game, but he really has, no part of his game that just puts him behind the 8 ball, let's say, to start any tournament. So he hasn't missed a cut dating back to last year's U.S. Open. So it's now 26 straight tournaments after last week. He's been especially strong since March. He's got 9 top 25 finishes in his last 13 starts, including last week at the Scottish. And then additional tournaments where he cashed this top 20 ticket this season include U.S. Open, the Memorial, RBC Canadian, Wells Fargo, the Players, Arnold Palmer. All of those are majors or signature events. So, the guy is just, he can play well in deep fields. He can play well in tough tracks. It doesn't matter. Nothing really phases him. Excuse me. The funny side of Connors is that his ball striking is so good, he can make up for very poor putting, which is what plagues him and keeps him from winning. Over his last 22 starts, Andy, this is bizarre to see how much his ball striking is carrying him. Over his last 22 starts, all of which were cuts made, mind you, he gained strokes putting 6 times. That's it. 6 times in 22 starts. Yet he's making the cut. It doesn't matter that he sucks at putting. He still makes the cut because he hit the ball tee green that good. But here's what I like about him this week. All right. If you play link style golf, it's different. It's slower, right? The greens are not as fast as what you see in the States. And the reason for that is because the courses have to defend against 25, 40 mile an hour winds. You can't have fast greens and have winds that are below 25 mile an hour. The ball will not hang. So the only way to set up golf courses, in Scotland, for example, like we saw last week, is slightly slower greens. It doesn't mean they're slow like you were going to find down the road at your $20 beauty, but they're slower than what these guys are used to. And for whatever reason, the speed seems to be something Connors is very comfortable with. He's gained strokes in all of them, all his last 5 starts during what I like to call the link swing at the Open and the Scottish Open. So if you can mask, right, and hide his worst attribute here again, which seems to be the case every year at these type of events, there's just little chance he's not going to be in those final 10 groups on Sunday, be in that top 20 market. So better than 2-1. I found as high as plus 240 at FanDuel or DraftKings for him to cash a top 20, I think is absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm assuming we're going to hide his weak putting because of these slow greens he tends to like. But even if he doesn't putt that well, it's still proving. He'll make the cut and probably still give us a chance to cash his ticket. So I like Corey Connors to do something this week at the Open.
Yeah, I already have a bet on Corey Connors this week for sure.
Okay.
I mean, just kidding. I mean, and just to piggyback off it, 38th at the Masters, 26th at the PGA Championship, 9th at the U.S. Open. He's been good at the majors, so no worry about the big stage, with those. So, guys, if you could hit the like button one more time. We're going to go down the list of golfers here we haven't really talked about and get some quick thoughts. But before that, real quick, Nick, give them the promo code one more time for your 5% play.
Short code is open20, and that'll save you $20 off the regular price of $39. Includes 5% play loaded already, plus all 4 days of coverage. So all plays added as the tournament goes on. But open20 is the code, and you can go and grab that on my page right now.
AND7 is a promo code for myself. Get 7 days for $69. Get the 5% Scottish Open play along with all sports. All right, Scottie Scheffler. I mean, listen, it's a different Scottie Scheffler. He's finished outside the top 20 barely the last couple of years. You kind of throw that out the window based on how much he's improved his putting this week.
Yes, and I'm sorry that the picture is just not to laugh. Yeah, I think you have to throw a lot of what he's done at this event out of the window. It honestly was a little surprising when he decided. I guess it's because he's a new dad. He just wanted to spend time with the family. That he basically said, "I'm not going to play again after the U.S. Open until the Open." I figured he might play and warm up last week. I think there's something to be said for. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he came over early, but just like the getting acclimated to the change in your body clock, if you will, being 5 hours different than the East Coast of the United States, I think it's just important to get over a little earlier. I don't know if he did, so I can't really comment on it. I have to kind of look into that. But yeah, he's going to play better than he probably has in the past year. I don't know that he's going to win. I'm not going to bet him to win because his price is just too short. I think that's just a realization of what we're dealing with at this point.
Rory McIlroy, been playing great. Looks like he's kind of shaken off the disaster at the U.S. Open, finished fourth last week, 6th and 3rd last two Open championships. I don't trust him in round 4 with his putting, but you got to believe he's going to be in the mix, right?
Absolutely. He'll be there. He'll have a top 10 finish. It's hard to see anything but that. And yeah, I just don't trust him in the final stretch. And again, he kind of did the same thing on Sunday this year. He wasn't far back at all. He just kind of stalled, right? It just had a couple of, I forget what hole it was. He had a poor iron shot and then a poor chip back to back. I mean, it's just, he'll figure it out. I'm sure he'll, again, win and have a major under his belt at some point. I'm not betting it to happen this week, but he's probably top
10. Schauffele, I don't know, hasn't shown a lot of the upside in the last 4 Open championships, 17th, 15th, 26th, 41st. But again, kind of feels like a different Schauffele. It feels like the best version of him. Gotta believe he's going to be in the top 10-ish this week. I'm just not sure with this weather. I'm not sure this is just going to be your typical Open championship type of circumstances. The softer greens, you got to be accurate off the tee. Feels like it's setting up for a really, really nice Schauffele performance this week.
That's just the man. It's that simple. He's just as steady as they come, as bettable as they come. Whenever you see it up, I go, all right, how am I getting my money next this week? Right? Sometimes you have to get creative because his pricing is becoming very long, and you have to lay a lot of juice to get the squeeze here. But you got to get creative with Xander. You got to play him. He had a slow start last week. He shot 1 under. He was outside the top 70 after Thursday, but X does what he does. He's steady. He grinds. He doesn't care. He knows he's playing 4 days. 51, 2, 3 now cuts made. That was his 10th straight top 20 finish. Andy, minus the partner Zurich event, but 10th straight top 20 finish in regular events. And he's got, going back to the players in 2023, he's finished in the top 20 of 27 of his last 33 starts. So yeah, I'm going to bet X somehow, some way. Not sure yet exactly where that's going to be, but I expect something. Again, good for me.
Yeah, and his worst finish was at 54th at the Pro-Am. Don't forget that was rain. That was a weather-shortened event. That was just a disastrous kind of
Yeah, he would have played top 20 there.
Yeah, right. Ludvig Aberg. I have to point out about Aberg. Round 1, 7th best scoring average on tour. Round 4, 91st. Yikes. And he did it again. He did it again last week. He was terrible. Maybe lingering effects from the knee, or just this guy's still young. I don't know. I'm probably not betting him on his debut here.
I love Ludvig. I think he's going to be big things for him. I think, he hit in the head. This is his first major season, right? So every major he started this year was his first time. I mean, the runner-up at the Masters, Had that been a little closer, you might have been argued that maybe we would have saw more. We didn't see the round 4 fall off there, but he didn't really have the nerves. Like, he wasn't really going to catch Scottie, right? Scottie had a pretty good cushion. So when the nerves are there, that's something you got to learn. I mean, where is he, 21? It takes a little time. It takes losing, to figure that out. So I think he'll be there. I think he'll play well. You're probably right. He's going to get off Thursday and Friday. Ludvig is probably very bettable. You might want to hang on the weekend and see where he stands, but I expect good things from the kid. I'm sure he'll have a good week. Probably not going to make my betting card unless there's like a matchup I haven't looked at it yet that I like, but you're right. I just don't trust him yet, right?
Hovland, I just can't trust his short game, especially like you said, it rolls off into bunkers. I can't get there on him this week.
Yeah, I thought I would get cute with him last week, and maybe the links would negate some of his, but he really actually wasn't that sharp 2 degree either, so no Hovland for me either.
One live guy I do love, Tyrrell Hatton. This guy that's finished 3rd and 1st his last 2 live events, 20th and 11th the last 2 years in Open Championships. I don't think his game has fallen off. I would love to get some good numbers on Hatton. Any thoughts on Hatton?
I think he's probably going to be a great matchup player for all the reasons you just said. We both know he's not going to win, right? He'll yell at himself and kick himself and throw his own clubs to keep himself from winning on the PGA Tour. That just won't happen. But all signs point to him having another good week. He's been steady. He's had good history in these events. Why wouldn't he again? I'm really interested to see who his matchups are, because I think that's where he can make some money on Hatton.
Fleetwood's always going to be solid, but again, he's like Hatton. He's not going to win. I'll tell you one guy I'm completely out on is Koepka. I didn't put him in players that can trip you up because I don't know who's betting on him. 27th and 42nd his last 2 live events, 64th and miscut in his last 2 Open Championships. Man, I think Koepka's better days are so far in the rearview mirror that this guy's he's gone from you wanted to bet on him to now, man, he's just a complete fade. No top 25s in the majors this year. Any thoughts on him?
Yep. I haven't touched him in the last couple either, and for all the same reasons you said, and so I'll agree with you and bypass him. I'm going to throw one at you because I'm very curious about this one, how you're thinking about Aaron Rai, who's all of a sudden become as steady as they goes. Of course, the nervous part of this is that he's played each of the last 3 weeks, so this will be 4 successive weeks. They've all been top 7 finishes, so it's not like he's playing. I mean, he's doing great with his starts, but does that give, Scottie Scheffler, the guy that arrested him, an advantage now here on week 4? Does that start to catch up to him?
No. I love Aaron Rai. On a course that it's not a big distance course, but it's accuracy. Aaron Rai is second best in accuracy off the tee in this field. That's a second.
Okay.
Accurate. He's going to put the ball in the fairway. He's going to give him chances. If you like doing make the cut parlays or top 40s, yeah, I'm not too worried about playing 4 weeks in a row. He had a week off before that, then 19th before that, then a week off before that. So this isn't like when Sung Jae was playing 22 weeks in a row. Way back when. So yeah, I like Aaron Rai. He bit me. He proved me wrong. I worried about him last week, and he was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I think I got to get back on the Aaron Rai bandwagon. By the way, my players that could trip you up last week was probably one of the worst of the year. I think they all finished in the top 5.
My was up top 10. Like my top 20 was he was through after the second round. So yeah, I had to
went through. Yeah,
dumpster fire.
And finally, we have to make fun of NBC and Golf Pass, and I would like to show the picture that they put up on their website to show off the 6th hole. This Joe, if we could put nice picture. Thanks, guys. You couldn't even lift the camera above the fence. That is their picture of what the 6th hole is. They have pictures of every hole.
That's very artsy. You don't understand art. That's artsy, okay?
What is that? Come on, NBC Golf Pass. Do better. I mean, my gosh, there's a drone flyover of every single hole, and this is the best picture that Golf Pass came up with. It cracked me up when I was looking for pictures of that. That's the one they went with. So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it for us. Leave us a comment. Love you guys in the comment section. Let's see who you guys are liking this week. Hit the like button. Don't forget to go to wagertalk.com to get all of our plays for the Scottish Open. Good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone next week on Tee Time.